Dette indslag præsenteres af basketnation.dk.
Jim, for all the people who don't know who you exactly are, how long have you been in Denmark, and what got you here?
I think I've been in Denmark 100 years. I came in as a lot of my students and players, former players know, I came in 1991 to do the Yes I Can camp with Stan Kellner, and I've been here ever since. I went home for a year and then came back with a job offer. So I've been here basically since 1991.
So what have you been doing in all those years, and what made you fall in love with Denmark?
Well, I remember Stan Kellner saying to me as we were getting out of the plane, he said, "This is such a beautiful country. Maybe you'll never come back." And I said, we laughed, but I came here and I met Ed Vischer, who was a great coach, and he. As I said, some of the stories that I'm talking about, people have heard 1,000 times, but Ed Vischer, many years ago when I was 18, I played my team, Locust Valley. We played against Ed Vischer's team, Lutheran High School, which was one of the top teams in the country and had just started to develop to become great. And they had a 7-footer named Chris Tomford. And Chris broke his nose on a Friday night game, and we played them on a Saturday. And my little team of Locust Valley, we beat them, and I made the 2 foul shots to win the game. Well, 25 years later, I walk into a gym and there's Ed Vischer, and he looks at me and he says, "I know you," and that started us. We became friends. He took me to Horsens and to all the cafes, and I had a chance to get to know him again as a friend, and he introduced me to Per Mikkelsen, and Per Mikkelsen had a dream of developing basketball in this country, especially youth basketball at Orr, and Per was the first one to offer me a job, and he offered me a job with no money. He just said, "Trust me." And I looked in his eyes and with Per Mikkelsen, and I just said, "All right, Per, I'm trusting you." And then that's how we started at Orr. So it was a fun situation. It was a little scary, but looking back, it was a great thing for me.
So it has always been a lot of coaching. As you mentioned, Stan Kellner is also in about the Yes I Can camp. He was. When did you become a part of the Yes I Can camp, and how many years have you been doing it for?
Well, many years ago, as a coach, I heard Stan Kellner talking at a clinic. And I remember Stan was talking about something the other coaches didn't want to hear about. He was talking about the self-image of a player. And for me, it was really big because I remember as a player, I would play one great game and then another terrible game. I would play well when I made my first couple of shots, and I would play poorly if I missed some shots. If somebody trash-talked me, I would get so upset I wouldn't play. So it was all about my mind, and I thought no coach that I had ever taught me what to do and how to prepare for tough games. There was always a little prayer to my grandmother in heaven and saying, wish me luck. And Stan Kellner was the first person who incorporated NLP training, neuro-linguistic programming, which Richard Bandler and Anthony Robbins. If you've heard about Anthony Robbins, he's famous now for going all over the world and doing NLP training. Well, Stan did that in basketball, so he was way ahead of his time, and that was in the 70s. So as a young coach in the 70s, I started with Stan going to Yes I Can camp, met Mitch Kupchak, who was Stan's famous player from the Lakers, and a lot of great things happened, and I watched players jump higher than they'd ever jumped. I watched players be quicker than they'd ever been. I watched players shoot better than they had ever shot in their lives just at a camp, and just by using the idea of seeing it, feeling it, having role models. And I thought it was really special, asking players and asking people to step outside their comfort zone, to try and do things that they thought they could never do. And in effect, when you look at it, the scientists and people, they say that now we're using 5% or even less of our brain power. And I think there's even a movie out with a Danish actress where she's supposed to be someone who uses 100% of her brain power and all the things she can accomplish. Well, in basketball, it's not so much the physical talent, it's how you feel and the things you do. Every player has a great game. Every player has a game they look back to and say, boy, I played great that time. Well, the idea is that wasn't an accident. Something clicked in your mind that allowed you to be free and allowed you to play the game you're capable of playing. Well, it would shock a lot of players to think they can play that kind of game all the time. And that's what the camp is all about. That's what the Yes I Can, that's what neuro-linguistic programming is about. So that's what we do at the camp.
So that's when people talk about the Yes I Can camp being something different. That's the more the mental side, or isn't the thing that like embracing the whole spirit about the body mind thing?
Well, you know, every camp is good, and a player who wants to go and get better will get better. The Yes I Can camp approaches it different. We do all the physical skills that the other camps do, but we also talk to them about the idea of finding a role model and being able to visualize yourself jumping into the role model's feet, being as quick as the role model, visualize, and we teach them how to relax. You know, I talk to old players that I had, and so many of them will say to me, geez, I really miss the way we prepared before a game and the things we did after a game mentally that helped us get better. And it was all about taking time to relax our bodies, to prepare for our best game. And that was a fun thing, but it was also a chance to open up and not worry about making mistakes. I remember I had Jesper Hauge as an early player, and what a great player he was in First Division in Odense. And we talked a lot about mistake, how players, if you watch a game, you'll see a player make a physical mistake, and then right after you'll see him make a mental mistake. And the whole thing is being able to make a physical mistake and then let it go and do something better the next time. So that's what we do with our programming, the mind and the body.